All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This meeting will be conducted entirely via video conferencing. The public may view and listen to the meeting at the following live stream URL, www.metrotech.edu/NP/live. So, welcome everyone, including Ron's to the meeting. At this point, Joanne, will you go ahead and call us to order?
The roll. Ms.
All right,
McKinney.
good evening, everyone.
Present.
Dr. Teray.
Present.
Ms. Campos.
Present.
Ms. Richards.
Here.
Mr. Perry.
Here.
Mr. McKinney.
I'm here.
And Mr. Latham.
Here.
All present.
All right, it appears we have a quorum. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Collins for the superintendent's report.
You're muted. He's muted.
That's why I wasn't talking, because Keo and I were playing with buttons. So I apologize. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to make a few comments, and I'll have several tonight, so I'll give you an opportunity to be able to comment or ask questions. So first off, I desire to continue to be praying for the Metro Tech District and community during these unprecedented times. Also desire to let Miss Sequita Johnson know in our media department that we appreciate her, and we're thinking about her and her family. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family at this time. Last Thursday, we had a great professional development presented by Sarah Taylor called Seeing the Difference. And it was on improving cultural competence. If you have not read any of her books, I would highly suggest you get on Amazon, Sarah Taylor, and to look at those books. Great author, great presenter. We were fortunate to be able to have her. Appreciate our professional development team and being able to set that up for us. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have spoken during that time as well to the entire staff on Dedicated to Excellence. And so I wanted to share with you quickly my commitment to the faculty and staff, to our students, and to you. The following. I discussed I'm going to be visible and viable, supportive of students and supporting students together, supporting faculty and staff, committed to effective collection and analysis of data, and meeting the needs of industry, as well as supporting workforce development in the metro area, diversify funding streams to enable growth and reduce financial risk in this time of financial uncertainty, embracing and being the public face of metro technology. I'm grateful to represent the district with my commitment to you to do that with integrity, with enthusiasm, while being candid and honest. And committed to the ideology that when I make a mistake, because I will, to admit that mistake and to make it right, I'm committed to building and growing relationships. Any questions or comments thus far?
No.
I have one. I think that your weekly update is an outstanding feature, and I enjoy it very much. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney. Thank you for those kind words. Metro Tech is open for business. Adult students returned yesterday. We have a few high school students on campus as well. I'm appreciative of the work site directors, faculty, staff, and administration have completed to see this day come to fruition. It's exciting times to see real people on campus, and not just through Zoom. We're following the back to school plan. Chief officers are debriefing daily to assist for reopening the next day. Transportation is working daily to meet transportation needs of 13 districts and all students. And I thank them for those efforts and thinking outside the box as we think about transportation, as well as maintenance of facilities and sanitation. So greatly appreciate all that. Any questions about the opening and reopening and us seeing students live?
A question,
Please.
Mr. President. I have a question about the hiring of bus drivers. Are you having any problems with hiring bus drivers. I just noticed the resignation and I thought, is that an issue this year for us?
So I would say that's a continued issue every year, all years, in every district that does transportation. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And we continue to keep openings open on our website to continue to recruit. We just had a discussion this week about possibly putting in a classified on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Bus drivers. So
I just-
yes,
Thank you.
You are correct. And so it is a challenge and a challenge throughout districts in Oklahoma and throughout the nation. I do want to say congratulations to the aviation campus, Mr. Branch, and STEM Academy, Mr. Lever, for each receiving a grant from Oklahoma Aeronautics. We appreciate the support from Mrs. Robinson on this project and the work that her office does. I'm grateful for our chief officers working and communicating together, their commitment to excellence, as well as providing support to our students, faculty, staff, community, and businesses. Appreciating them communicating weekly, as well as then communicating with directors. And the media department is doing an excellent job in supporting the edits that occurred on our reopening plans and keeping up with those. Thank you so much, as well as producing the weekly update videos that Mr. McKinney discuss. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments before I continue? Grateful to have met with each one of you, the board members, individually. I'm only a handful away from meeting with all district directors and supervisors, and I will complete that on Monday. And I've also started meeting with chief officers, and I hope to have that completed by next week as well. Also want to make mention is that we do have our own Laura Belden ready to perform contact tracing when needed, and she has been trained to complete that task, and so appreciate that. Next month, we will have a process in place in which each chief officer will submit a written board report for the board to review that. That report will highlight what their departments have accomplished and what they're working on. They will also be able to discuss processes within that written form that they are working on and improving as we work on continuous improvement together. So did want to let the board know about that, and that will begin next month. Two more comments I have. Actually, three more comments. Any other questions or comments before I make those three? Appreciate your patience. I appreciate the work that Joe, Carla, Jesse, and Cindy has done on the downtown plan and the second and on the third floor, and working to get that on budget at $230,000. Grateful to the board for committing up to $70,000 for the needed technology, included Zoom rooms for those plans. We have early plans for the first floor, kind of putting those on hold right now. And our goal at this time is to have the third floor up and fully running as soon as possible. And to really meet the needs they have, that department has put out surveys to our partners as well as to our clients to find out their needs. And so have looked at that design and the redesign, kind of putting on hold on the first floor. Let's get the third floor totally up and running and get it where it needs to be. And then we can reimagine that first floor and then work on the financing for that. Any questions then about downtown and how we're currently doing that? They are having online classes and online training and working towards, as the city's working on face-to-face training. And so that will be getting back up, doing face-to-face training for safety and with Oklahoma City very soon. We have an announcement concerning Head Start, and so I do want to have Dr. Bills at this time to give us an announcement about where we are with our relationship and how we're working with community agency and Head Start.
Can you hear me okay? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
it looks like you want to start my video. Is that okay, Keo? Well, hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to really, I'm going to talk about two questions that were asked at the last board meeting. So if it's okay with you guys, I want to start with not so much community action first, but the nutrition question. Dr. Trey asked a really good question last time, and it had to do with how are we going to address the nutritional needs of our students. You know, this is certainly something that we have not really had to really look at because most of our high school students are at their sending schools. But this year, we know because of the pandemic that some of our students may be coming to us from their home opposed to their sending school. So it was a really good question, gave us a chance to really think through that process. And since then, I have met with the assistant superintendent. Her name is Dr. Melanie Mouse. She's new to Oklahoma City Schools, but she's our contact this year. And what she was sharing with me is some opportunities with child nutrition and what we can do. And so one of the things that we're going to be able to do in partnership with Oklahoma City Public Schools is that we're going to have Spring Lake campus and South Bryant campus both as designated feeding sites for Oklahoma City Public Schools. So we know that our Oklahoma City Public Schools can be fed through this process. But what we think that we can do once the federal waiver form is released is that we can petition for it. And she said to get that approved, and she didn't think that there would be a problem getting it approved, is that that would open up the sites to be able to feed all students, not just Oklahoma City Public Schools. And so she really feels good about that. So we'll keep you posted on that. We think it's a great opportunity to leverage our resources. And we just appreciate Dr. Mouse for helping us with that process. And also, Mike Shelton is working with the Regional Food Bank to provide Backpack Fridays. And this is a program that provides backpacks that are filled with prepackaged foods and fruits that students can take home with them for weekend meals. And so big thank you to Mike Shelton and his staff, the transition team, in coordinating that for us. And also just a reminder, we do have our Metro Tech Food Bank. We do keep it stocked. Each site director has access to these resources for local site needs. And our annual Dr. Porta's Food Bank Drive, it comes each year during Bedlam, and that's a great opportunity to stock our pantry. So we're hopeful that football will get underway, but if it does not, we still plan on having Bedlam because that is a great opportunity to benefit our students in the annual food drive. And so the second question was regarding the exit of community action. And so I wanted to, first of all, apologize. I did not give you the correct date. Community action actually notified us their decision to vacate in March, and it wasn't in May. So I didn't want you to think that community action left us hanging. It was a last minute decision on their part. They've been amazing partners, and they did give us plenty of notice. They were also very clear in email that they wanted to return following the renovation. So I do want to apologize for that error. We desperately need to address significant challenges that are going on with the child care building. And I know that Joe can give us more details. And so the good news is that we did meet last Friday, and we are working on a new contract. Smith and Pickel was there. And we did have a preliminary assessment of the damage, the water damages that are going on in that building. And they didn't promise us, but they did say that it looked pretty good that we could actually get the space renovated, fully renovated by January 1st. And so that's really our goal, is to get them back in the building by January 1. And Superintendent Collins has been, he made a promise to the new executive director, Miss Jessie Thompson, that going forward, Metro Tech will be better landlords. And so we want to continue that relationship. Community Action has done, and they continue to do amazing work. And so we want to support them, and we want to be better partners going forward. So we know that they do great work. And so we're going to do whatever it takes to get them back over into their center in a freshly renovated space with no water damage. I did want to report back on those two questions. Any questions on those two items?
I do, Stephanie, on the resources that you just provided with the
the food, nutrition, and all of that. Back to School Fridays, food bank, and then the partnership with Oklahoma City Public Schools. How will that be communicated out to our students, and so that they're aware of those programs?
Well, we certainly will put it on our social media, and it'll be linked to our website. We have our resources page under the COVID update tab on our website. But the best line of communication is going to be word of mouth through their teacher. And so they'll be working through our teacher and our site directors. And so we're going to concentrate on over communicating for sure. I don't know what the last research is, but I think people have to hear it 7 times before they actually hear it. So we'll hit them both ways through internal and external communication. But thank you for your question. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Stephanie,
Yes.
do you have students that actually work with these folks when they're up and operating?
With community action,
Uh-huh.
as far as like work-based learning, we do have a teacher that is an our early care teacher, and she does have her students do work-based learning at the community action center. So yes, but as far as like employment, no, we do not.
No, I just meant as student interns.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you bet.
Stephanie, may I comment? That serves a twofold purpose in that students, there's a place for childcare, and then there's also a place for training for our students. And we do need quality childcare on this side of town. We do need well-trained childcare individuals, and it serves as a twofold purpose for us. And I think if it's promoted properly, it can do wonders, but it has to be nourished, and we have to work with the agency to make it work.
Absolutely. And they also put us on the top of the list as far as students and staff. So if we ever have a childcare need, we go to the top of the list. And so they've been really good about supporting us. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We need childcare, quality childcare, and quality childcare training. It's the key.
And Stephanie, I don't know if this is appropriate for you or for Superintendent Collins, but it would be helpful for us probably too to have an annual report as to how many of our students are utilizing that center, how many of our faculty are utilizing that center. Because I don't disagree that there's definitely a need for childcare on the Northeast side, but I also want to make sure that it stays inside the focus of what Metro Tech's supposed to be providing. And that really, for me, it comes down a lot to making sure that they're utilizing, our students and faculty are utilizing that space. So would love to see a report to that regard.
I think that's a great idea.
I apologize. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, President Latham, what we're thinking about and looking at too is that having them truly as a partner means that they also have a voice. And so I think that report coming from them is going to be better than coming from us, and us being able to listen to them and to see them and hear from them, I think is going to be very important. So if I may, since we brought this up, I just want to share my vision real quick. As you know, I know several of you know about early childhood. My goal is to have this eventually be full day, 3 and 4-year-old full day. We realize that the data says that kindergarten readiness will jump 100% if you go from half day to full day. For students in poverty, you're talking about somewhere between 15 and 20% of them will be ready for kindergarten. If they have access to full day preschool, that jumps between 50 to 65% kindergarten readiness. Can you imagine what we then and the support we give to the community by offering that and doing that? So I think that's phenomenal. We're in early discussions, and we'll be in only our 2nd discussion with Sunbeam on tomorrow, and starting early discussions with them about early Head Start. So again, my vision, having early Head Start and Head Start. I believe that we can do early Head Start at the South Bryant campus. As you know, there's some building and some things that we're doing, renovations. And so maybe we look at something, and we'll bring this, ideas to the board, but looking at possibly maybe putting a 5,000 square foot building there. Within that 5,000 square foot building would be 4 or 5 early Head Start classrooms, and then aviation. And as you know, we have space on that campus to do that. So these are early discussions, but I did want to bring that up and let you know of that vision and kind of what we're looking at. And that fulfills, our commitment to the community about aviation as well.
Aaron, you just touched on, I was about to ask you about Sunbeam, so
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, great. Again, great partners in our community. And they want to assist. And I believe that our community is in need of both. From early Head Start, just for those that are listening to us today to know the difference. So early Head Start is birth through 2, and then Head Start being ages 3 through 5. So agency then having the federal contract with Head Start, Sunbeam then having the federal contract with Early Head Start. Questions, comments on that?
The only thing I have there, and my one concern, is just making sure we're not mission creep. Like our goal is career training. And so for me, it really needs to be about our students and our faculty if we're moving into something that's in those early ages, because that's not really the mission of Metro Tech. It's the mission of Oklahoma City Public Schools and some others, but that's the only concern I have there, is making sure that we're staying on that track. And so for me, I love the idea of getting a report, straight from them. I think that's a really great way for us to understand what they're providing to our students and faculty. But I think making sure that we're keeping our dollars saved for what we need to be doing well, and that's career training, is really important to me.
So from a dollar standpoint, the ROI is totally for our community. And if our young people, and Dr. Teray, if you've got the data better than I do, updated data, but if our young people don't learn how to read by 3rd grade, we'll not get them at Metro Tech. They won't be here.
They never will. Mm-hmm.
And so it is along our mission, because we have access to students that we may not have access to by providing these services for early Head Start and Head Start. Funding out of our pocket is very nominal on this. In fact, community pays a rent and a nominal fee, but does pay. Those renovations that need to be done at that child care center need to be done whether they're there or not. They need to be done for our students that are currently learning there in the building. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
May I just jump in for a minute? I firmly believe that program can coexist with our current programs. I really believe that it will not only help our students, but also to have our students involved in the early childhood quality programs. And I will say to you, Superintendent Collins, one, the earlier you start, the more likely kids are to get what they need developmentally for reading, social skills, just a number of things. So I'm excited about 2 things. I'm really excited about the Sunbeam program as well as the Head Start. And I think they can only complement what we do, President Latham. I understand we don't want to deviate from our vision of careers and preparing adults and students, but I will say to you that I think that early childhood program will help us. And I think it will also benefit the community. But my understanding early on was there were staff members who utilized the early childhood program. And someone please correct me if I'm wrong, which means there's nothing like having a quality child care center that a mother or father in their workplace will have access to, where they could do things with their children. So even though I'm thinking about the community, I'm also thinking about the staff, the employees at Metro Tech utilizing the facility. And I thought at one time we had some data that we had some staff members utilizing the child care center.
Yes, ma'am.
So
we do, and those two work together, the child care and the Head Start. Yes, ma'am.
I'm excited about it Head Start returning in January. Thank you, Dr. Beals, for the initiative to continue with that. I'm excited about that.
Yes, and to add to that, there was a time when we had students who brought their children to the center.
Absolutely.
And there is an opportunity for training for those students to receive their license for child care who participate in the classes. So that is job preparedness. There are careers in child care, in early child care.
I also will add is that I'm interested in seeing the partners that can come in, as you said, Sunbeam and some of these that we already mentioned. So that could be a way that they take on these projects, but offer opportunities for Metro Tech to be involved. So I would love to hear more about those partnerships and how they could assist moving forward. I do know of a few that already have been working with Sunbeam and Community Action, and they have seen nothing but positive results as a benefit of this. Even recently with COVID, because of the support with Sunbeam, they were able to step in and financially support to continue those efforts. So I think maybe to your point, Matt, we could look into it a little bit further and get a little bit more data and information on how they could be beneficial to partner with, or how that would look, just to feel better about that project. But I absolutely feel like it would provide further opportunities.
Just a reminder to the board is I did share with you some data that showed you that our faculty and staff was using that, as well as students. So don't forget about that data I sent you. I can send you videos that we just received from Sunbeam today about how they can partner with us and grow.
And if I may add, President Latham, too, there is something to what Aaron is, Superintendent Collins is talking about, because the more we can expose them to career technical education at an earlier age. We spend a lot of our time, even in the high schools and young adults, almost trying to convince them of the power of career tech. And so I want to say it was a few years ago, we did benchmark. It was a kindergarten, it was an elementary school that really embedded a curriculum that was career tech focused. And so exposing our young people to career tech jobs, think about firefighters, police officers, there's some curriculum out there that we can imprint on them at an earlier age. And so we have been talking about, we want our students to be much like Millwood, because they're Falcons for life. They start out as young people being Falcon. And so we want our students to be Metro Tech students for life. And so that we can get them at an earlier age and really work through some of the career tech and expose them to the great opportunities with career tech all the way in from their early age to high school adults, and even returning adults to the business side. So there's something to being seamless.
A holistic view of being a way of life, not just preparing for life, but a way of life. I only have one more, really, I think, an announcement. Any other comments or questions before I do the last comment, before we move further? Appreciate your comments and patience, and appreciate Dr. Bills speaking with us on that. I do want to clarify some more information. Mrs. Friedman is with us as well. If I say something incorrect, she can help me. So there is some miscommunication on the parking lot, so we want to clarify. Actually, on that lease, the parking spots are not free. Actually, they're free after a payment. So let me discuss that. What it actually is that we pay for the first 10, and then we get 15 free after that. So the contract is we do pay for the first 10. So the price was a little incorrect on that. It's actually, the total is 16,000, not 13. And so we pay for 11 parking places and then 15 free. So I just wanted to comment on that and clarify that. My apologies for not knowing that information. Does that clarify a little bit more about that then, and the reasoning why that cost is high, that we are, to get the 15 free, we have to pay for 10.
Oh, okay.
And that's the contract. Miss Cindy, did I say anything correct, or did I give a correct announcement on that?
That is correct, Superintendent.
Okay. So to get
And
the
there-
free 15, we have to pay for 10. Go ahead, Cindy, I apologize.
Well, and just to clarify on the confusion, there was a little bit of confusion because the purchase order was entered with an incorrect number. So Mr. P was accurate in his math, but it was an incorrect purchase order entry. So thank you, Mr. Perry, for being so diligent. It was for 10 parking places. And when you do the math, the cost is identical for both garages.
Thank you.
If there's not any other questions or comments before we move on to presentation and me being able to introduce them. We do have Joe Meyer with us, I believe, tonight as well. And so we appreciate the work that Joe's doing. And our guest tonight is, I believe, is Collins. And Collins is with Smith and Pickel. We're delighted to have him. We've been working, as you know, with Renaissance Architects and Smith and Pickel. And so, Kale, if you could unmute Collins and Joe, and I believe Collins has a few comments and a presentation for us.
Hello.
Collins, welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I
And
can
we,
hear you.
we see you. You clean up really nice.
I do my best. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone allowing me to a little bit of time here to present to you just a progress update on our construction. And we got several projects in the wrapping up phases, and I'll run through these. And of course, if you have any questions, please just stop me at any time and I'll be happy to answer. So starting off on the Spring Lake campus, the EDC parking lot project, that is wrapped up and complete. We received a certificate of occupancy from the city of Oklahoma City on the 29th of July. And we did complete that project under budget. We were able to return $20,379 back to Metro Tech. And that included a little bit of expanded landscaping scope. And we were able to cover that with the landscaping allowance we had for the project. So that is complete. Staying at Spring Lake over at the STEM Academy, the STEM Shop Edition, the certificate of occupancy is expected tomorrow or Thursday, so we're right there. And we will walk through with the fire marshal, and he gave us his approval today as well. And that project is expected to come in with about $20,000 in project savings. So we are under budget on that, and wrapping it up. The cosmetology relocation, that project also on Spring Lake campus. We are in the final stages on that, and Metro Tech has begun the move-in process. So there's a lot of coordination going on there, and there were a handful of materials that were delayed due to COVID-19, and which is typical for what we're seeing right now. Those items are the lockers, some wood and metal specialty ceilings, specialty finishes, and some architectural accent lighting. We've been coordinating heavily with Joe and his team to allow for a temporary certificate of occupancy with the city. So they're allowing you all to move in and not hold up that process. And then we basically just need to wrap up those last few areas, especially in the break room with those missing materials. Mid-August is when we're supposed to get delivery. And so we should have a final certificate of occupancy towards the end of August or early September. That project too, as far as budget goes, is tracking under budget, and we expect to return just over $100,000 in project savings. Staying on Spring Lake campus again, the Child Care Center, as Stephanie had mentioned, we are expediting this project to address the water infiltration, and we've had a couple meetings on site, and so we're working to coordinate the scope of work that might need to happen there to give it a facelift and also address that water issue and have that project done early January, and so we're defining the scope right now, and we want to issue go to public bid as soon as possible, and hopefully come back to the board with an approval of scope of work and a cost to do that renovation soon. Moving on to the ITS control room relocation, that small project is complete, and that again, that one is under budget. We're expecting $15,000 in project savings there. And then over on the South Bryant campus, Building A, that project is currently we're working on design, and we're actually expected to receive approval back from the Department of Labor on the asbestos removal here anytime. That was submitted a few weeks back, and then following that, we'll receive a scope of work, a design set of plans from Renaissance Architects that will then go out to public bid, and then be able to present to you a guaranteed maximum price in October. And that project as well is also tracking to be completed by the end of the year, and we're on schedule for that. So we're checking off the boxes right now, and everything is tracking towards the goal of that project or that building being demolished by the end of the year. Also over at the South Bryant, we're working on integrating some security changes to the ATC building that's in design right now. Those changes are being integrated into the design, and we've had several meetings here recently discussing that. The architects are on a fast track timeline as well to turn around and with those new design features incorporated, and we'll be able to turn around a new budget here within the next 2 weeks, which will allow us to move into the next phase of design. So that's being moved forward expeditiously, and then same thing with the Police and Safety Academy building. That's in the planning stages right now, and moving along as well. So that concludes my my overview. And Joe, if you have anything to add, or if anyone has any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I wonder if it's best to go ahead and take questions, and then anything that's missed, Joe can also answer and chime in afterwards. So comments, questions from the board. I will say that Collins mentioned, the planning and with the ATC, that redesign, we appreciate Renaissance and the work that they've done with that. You'll see that listed as a payment for tonight, as a requisition, excuse me, not as a payment, but as a requisition, will not be over 59,000. And so submitted that to you. And to let you know, though, that with the redesign and the work of all of us working together, it's team together. We've been talking about that, Team Metro Tech. And so together, re-looking at that, we're saving $2 million off the original cost that was given to us from Smith and Pickel. So appreciate your patience. And so questions or comments from the board to Collins or Joe?
Collins, I'm very grateful for the fact that on the projects at Spring Lake, you've saved $155,000, and I think that's great.
Thank you.
I don't see any questions or comments. Joe, anything that we missed that you would like to add? Appreciate your diligence, your work, your patience, and your willingness to let me travel with you from place to place and allowing me to slow you down. So I appreciate your patience.
Thank you, Superintendent Collins, Board President Matt Latham, board members, and Metro Tech staff, and Mr. Collins Peck. Thanks, Collins. It has been a pleasure to work with Smith and Pickel through this event that the school's going through. You know, we've been under a little bit of a restriction staff-wise because of COVID and things like that. And honestly, I haven't been on site as much as I have because I just wanted to play it safe and keep distance. But we have always had great communication with Smith and Pickel. Sometimes I'm down there every day, sometimes I'm not, but they have done an excellent job with providing us a quality product. And so thanks again, Collins. I just want to say thank you.
We really appreciate it.
And the other thank you goes really to the Metro Tech staff, and that we got this where we're at because of the staff at Metro Tech. We have so many committees going on that provide the details to the consultants, to Renaissance and to Collins. It's through their input that we get the buildings designed properly. We get the right things in the classrooms. We seem to have an echo somewhere. We have a committee at South Bryant working on the Public Safety Academy. We have committees at Spring Lake working on BCC and signs and all those kind of things. So a lot of people are involved to get us where we are today, and we are extremely busy. We have a lot of things going on. I have a list of things here. I don't know if you want to hear them all, but you know, whereas Collins mentioned the child care, we're fast tracking that. We're repairing the ramp, the stairs coming into the back of BCC.
That's right. Thanks, Joe, for mentioning that. I forgot.
You know, we've got that. Yeah. So, funny thing about that ramp, they took the concrete floor out of it today, and there was nothing on it. It was kind of a floating floor. It kind of washed out underneath there. So, I don't think we were a minute too soon getting that out of there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's we've had it all measured and documented by engineers to ensure that when it goes back, it's all within compliance and meets the ADA requirements, and will be open to use for ADA as well as the public. You know, some of the things that we're looking at all of our buildings, you know, we're looking at finishes, we're looking at signs. We have a sign committee to get signs designed, get one design that's going to fit all. So we're going to that, and Aaron is asked to be part of that committee. We're meeting for our first time actually Friday. There's many wants, many needs. We're going to try to meet as many as we can. We know that we're limited by budget, and we have to kind of sort through those things. We want to be energy efficient in our designs. We want to have lighting controls. We want to use geothermal where we can, so that the end product, we want to have a low maintenance, high capacity facility. I think I should give a little clarification on A building at South Bryant. You know, A building will be demolished. We are working to empty it out. It's empty of all the owner contents. The next thing, as Collins mentioned, was the asbestos. But when those are through and they come back to the board with you in October, it'll be for a proposal to demolish that building. And after careful study and input from Smith and Pickel and from Renaissance, due to the nature of the building and the many systems that are just obsolete, don't meet code, we know we're going to be money ahead to just demolish that building and start over. So just a heads up about building A. I do want to top Collins on one thing, though, that I thank you, Collins, for the $150,000 in savings, but I just want to tell the board that to date, we've come up with over $1 million in savings on our budget from projects. And we're not sacrificing anything. Some of it's been through negotiation. For example, through OG&E, we started out with a $750,000 number from them. And that started several months ago. And today I asked for some help from Smith and Pickel, but we got an invoice from OG&E today for $136,000 to upgrade all the electrical at South Bryant to buildings A, B, C, and D. And that includes new equipment, new transformer, new underground, tie it all in. We'll have some expense to do our side of it, and where we have to get a meter for each building where we don't have it now. And then there's been some other savings in asbestos removal and things like that. So we're trying to be diligent with the budget. We're trying to get savings where we can without compromising the quality in the classroom and the equipment and infrastructure that we need. I could say more, but I think that's a pretty good summary of where we're at today. And I'd be willing to take any questions that anybody might have, or anything I can help you with.
I am gonna go. Oh, go ahead, Mr. McKinney.
I was just wanting to congratulate you, Joe and Collins. You guys are doing a fine job for us, and we appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's been a blast. It's been really exciting the last few months, and we're really making some progress. There's more things in the works, and it's just with the staff at Metro Tech being involved and having great consultants, it's really it's challenging, but it's very rewarding as well. So thank you, Mr. McKinney.
I was just gonna add, I don't want to add more work, but I'm very visual, so I don't know if it would be possible, like maybe quarterly or somewhere. I know with COVID, it's been harder as we are meeting virtual, to follow along with what is really happening on site with these projects, but I wouldn't want to ask for it like on a monthly, because that's just a lot more to take on. But would it be possible to do like a quarterly, either pictures or something to show us where we're at on the progress? Would that be too much to ask for?
Oh, not at all, Ms. Campos. We can put together a PowerPoint with quarterly, and that's not a bad idea, because it'll show some progress, and I'll make a note of that, and we'll do that. We do have some pictures up on the Metro Tech Facebook page, but I think it'd be a good idea just to have them here at the board meeting every quarter and provide those to you. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think if there's any, maybe like, with you initially going into something and maybe something was changed, that would be good to give us that pointer of what it was originally, maybe what you decided to go with instead. I would love to see those.
Okay, kind of a before and after.
Or just maybe if you had to change the original plan as intended, just to see what it actually was moving forward as on the project.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like one more comment about what Aaron had mentioned earlier about Head Start. I had a chance today to stop by their location down on Northwest Terrace and meet Mr. Dave Parker down there, and their facility down there. And Dave Parker's a wealth of knowledge. He's going to be our partner as we move forward to ensure that we do this correctly. Even at childcare, that there may be some things there that we can to ensure that we're in compliance and we do the right things, that we can use them as a resource at that project also. Okay, thank you, everyone. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. And again, we appreciate the great partnerships that we have with Smith and Pickel and Renaissance, and the relationships that we have together, and pulling in our faculty and staff and asking our students and community their opinions as well, and how they picture these designs and how we can better serve our students and our community. I believe up next then is the treasurer's report, and we appreciate Matt being with us. And again, congratulations to he and his family. And Matt, if you would give us the report, please, sir.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Board and Superintendent. Good to see everybody.
Great to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. If I look sleepy, that's why. Well, to go over our treasurer's report, you guys have that before you there. Looking at the general fund, I typically move from page 1 to the end. So page 1 talks about the general fund. As you can see there, in comparison to last year, our revenues were up by 6.96% from where it was last year, and bulk of that was attributed to 3.6% increase in our ad valorem collections. Our ad valorem growth is continuing to stay steady. We had $1.2 million extra in interest earnings off of the bond funds that we had invested. And so those earnings we brought those directly to the general fund. And then the increase in our state funding for the teacher pay raise is also attributed to that as well. The nice thing is that at the same time we were getting increased revenues, our expenditures went down by 10.49%. So we actually spent $2.7 million less this year in 2020 than we did in 19 for the year. So when that caused our fund balance to increase by 56.71%, which that's going to be important to remember, because as we get through July, August, September, October, and November, we have to utilize those funds to kind of help us fund our projects and items until our ad valorem collections come in late November. So a healthy fund balance is good for the fact that you guys remember the days we were borrowing funds from the revenue anticipation program, that we no longer have to do that as long as we maintain this healthy fund balance. And that saves us that fee every year. On the building fund, it's a very similar picture on the building fund. The growth in ad valorem was 3.66% there on those collections. The overall, we were 2.86% higher than we were last year on revenue, and on expenditures we were 18.65% below where we were last year. So we spent $1.6 million less than we did the prior year, and that's again the bond funds gives our other funds a little bit of a break for the time being. So that helps that. And not to mention is we controlled a lot of our spendings. And then when the pandemic hit in March, we kind of seen a little bit of our expenditures kind of fall down after that. Looking at the bond fund and the sinking fund, the bond fund to date, through June, we had spent $3.8 million of those $80 million. It was actually cash out the door. We do have several open projects that are continuing, as Joe and Collins mentioned. So we'll start to see that number rise and that fund balance go down as we work through those projects. The sinking fund, that one is just a come and go kind of fund. We've received $10.129 million in those sinking fund revenues, and we had to pay out our first interest payment. So we have what's left in there to pay our first bond payment as it comes due here in January. Does anybody have any questions related to those three funds?
I have a question, and it's not so much related to those funds. I was curious, are we tracking COVID expenses as a separate item?
We are, and we have a special code that was communicated from ODCTE to utilize for those expenses. And you know, being here at home, I don't have those numbers right here offhand, but I'll be sure to provide those to you guys as quickly as possible.
I'm wondering, is there any kind of reimbursement, federal, local, state, that might come because of COVID, or is it we're just out of luck? We have to eat it.
Yes, we were awarded $500,000 from the federal government.
That's what I.
To reimburse us for those. And we, if you remember, you guys approved a rather large technology expense. I believe that was in June. And we contributed some local dollars to that, as well as the remaining of those COVID-19, the CARES Act funds for the institutional portion to that. And all that's all we have to do is claim it and be reimbursed for it. And we will do that this month.
Thank you, Matt. It's good work.
Yeah. On investments, the investments page, as you can see, the interest rates are really dropping down. After this Thursday, we'll have about the highest interest rate we'll be earning will be 0.4%, whereas this time last year we were getting well over 2%. So we are going to see a decline in our investment income, and we've already prepared for that in our budget, as well as in how we invest those as well. So we're doing the best we can to get the best rate we can. It's just not a lot of high numbers out there. Other than that, if there are no other questions, that will conclude my report.
I don't know if this is a question for the treasurer necessarily, but it does involve the treasurer. Is it correct that the treasurer works for the board of directors and is a member of the board?
That's a great question.
I always thought that the treasurer worked for the board and reported to the board. And so with that in mind, my question is, have we made any inroads into finding a permanent treasurer as opposed to an interim treasurer? And I've never been one to feel good about the treasurer reporting to us on the job that he or she is doing. So I think it should be someone else, an independent individual. Dr. Collins, have you had a chance to look at that issue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's up to that's up to the board, and an item that can always be placed on the board to vote for treasurer. We just have an interim at that time. It is common practice. And I can bring in Mr. Campbell to talk about this as well, Bruce Campbell. But it is very common practice to have the CFO as treasurer. Metro Tech has done that in the past, as you know. So right. That is common practice. But it is up to the board and how you want to do that position. Yes. In other words, the treasurer position is voted on by the Metro Tech School District Board. So okay. You make that decision. Yes, sir. Ms. Joanne, did I say anything inaccurate?
I didn't hear a response. Was there a response to that?
Ms. Joanne?
Yes, the board votes on the treasurer, I think 3 or 4 positions by board policy. I'm sorry, I don't know that board policy, but I can certainly get it tomorrow and send to you. But
well, it's the 3, the 3 we just did. So president, vice president, clerk, and then the 4th one being the treasurer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Gary, thank you for clarifying that, because that has always been my understanding also. Thank you.
So anytime that there's, you know, and again, you only voted for interim, so anytime we can do that. You can even do a special called meeting to discuss treasurer, to vote however you want to do it. So you guys can just let me know how you want to do that in the future. President Latham, if I said anything incorrect or something you'd like to add, please do so.
No, I think that's accurate. I think when we were making the transition, we voted for an interim, and I think we've all understood that there's probably another conversation to be had down the road in that regard. So it was a matter of letting you be on the job for more than a month and at least make sure. And then I think we gladly entertain a conversation in that regard for the board.
And as we know, we do have a financial consultant at this time, as I informed the board, and he's doing an excellent job and was on campus today. So we appreciate the work that he's doing and supporting. I know that, Matt, I didn't know if you wanted to make any comments about that and the work that he's doing with you.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell, he's educated about 99% of all of us CFOs that are out there now. So he's a very good educator, and he is very very well respected.
And then I just have the upcoming event I want to state. Is that okay to state those, President Latham, or were there any questions for Matt? I apologize.
I don't see any questions. Go ahead.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You.
Are you okay with me doing the upcoming events then quickly?
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. So Greater Oklahoma City Chamber of Commerce State of the Schools is coming up. I believe there's 2 of you that have registered for that, Wednesday, August 12th from 12 to 1:30. If you haven't registered for that and you'd like to, please send me an email and we can get you on that. September special virtual board meeting, as you know, is September 1st, so it'll be right here before we know it. That's before the Labor Day holiday of September 7th. And then Foundation then has scheduled the Dr. Dennis Portis III Memorial Golf Tournament for Friday, October 30th at 8:30 a.m. That is across the street from the Spring Lake campus at Lincoln Park Golf Club. The rescheduled Metro Tech Foundation annual event, as we mentioned, Sowing the Seeds of Success banquet has been postponed. That date is now April 29th, scheduled from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Oklahoma History Center. That completes the superintendent report. And then next is board members' reports.
Thank you, Superintendent Collins. Do we have any board member reports?
I would like to just share, I participated in the virtual ACTE conference, and they had a real outstanding speaker. And I really commend Metro Tech for the awards. I didn't get the whole list of names, but I commend Metro Tech for the fine work they are doing and being recognized at that meeting. It was a pleasure to hear the names called and have Metro Tech well represented. But also the speaker, the keynote speaker was excellent, and especially in a time of COVID. His name was Tony Brigman, and he worked for Southwest Airlines. And he talked about what needs to happen in highly effective organizations. And it was just excellent information. And I thank Joanne for helping me get on, because I thought I was on and then I wasn't. And then I got back on. So thank you, Joanne, for your
To follow along with Dr. Ture, also want to say congratulations to all the winners. And in addition to that, the recipients at the Excellence in Education banquet, I feel like I'm seeing Metro Tech a lot more recognized, and I love hearing the stories. I love seeing it more. I feel like even in community partnerships, I'm hearing the name a lot more. I'm seeing them being connected in some way. So whether that's from students, staff, award recipients, community partners. So I just want to say the work that you're doing is being noticed and it's starting to shine. So we appreciate what you all are doing to keep us moving forward, and even through these difficult times, we are still seeing a lot of positives. So so thank you.
And I'll go ahead and echo the same thing. I actually just had a meeting before this with Commissioner Bloomer from Oklahoma County, and she was telling me how much she's appreciated getting to see Metro Tech having the accolades that they're getting. And so it's not just us on the board who are noticing these things, it's other members of the community who are in prominent positions to be great partners for us. And so really great to hear that kind of feedback from folks like Commissioner Bloomer. Keep up the good work. Any other
Superintendent Collins, do we have a any idea how the enrollment's coming so far? I know it's a bit early because we keep getting more enrollments. I think probably through September even, but do we have any early figures on that at all?
We do, and I would have to pull those up unless Miss Randa has hers pulled up. I'd have to get the Excel. Miss Randa, do you have yours pulled up? That is totally 100% my fault not being ready to give that.
That's all right. Can you just give us that information?
Actually, Miss Randa is getting on, and I think she has those numbers in front of her.
Great.
Randa?
So we have about 300 adults that started yesterday. We have about less than 100 high school students that started. So far, we still have several start dates started next week and the week after. So our enrollment is going to continue, but we really haven't had. We're still sitting around 1,100 total. Every drop that we have, we've had some schedule changes and additions added. So we're still sitting pretty good, considering the circumstances that we're at, and we're still watching capacities to make sure that we stay within social distance guidelines with every program. So we're looking at those on a case-by-case basis as far as filling any seats that we may have.
Thank you. I'd just like to know, as we go along, where we are.
Yes, we will definitely be doing that for you.
And that's something we can start adding, and I apologize, Mr. Perry. That's something I can put down that we want to have on the superintendent report of enrollment. That's important, and I apologize for that miss.
No problem. Thank you.
Any other board member reports or questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, the approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move we vote approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney?
Aye.
Ms. Campos?
Aye.
Ms. Richards?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Dr. Teray?
Aye.
Mr. McKinney?
Aye.
And Mr. Latham?
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 4 carries. Move on to item number 5, general business. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item number 5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. Mr. President, may I ask a question regarding, is item number A, I'm trying to make sure I know exactly where that is. Is that at the corner of Northeast 36 and Martin Luther King regarding the easement, the permanent easement to the city where we have that sinkhole? I'm just trying to make sure I know where that is. Can someone tell me that? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Joe, are you still around? I think that's something you were handling.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself.
There we go. Yes, Dr. Teray, I'm gonna have to come clean here. Apparently, the cosmetology location has never had a water meter. It's had water. It's had water to the building for 30 plus years, but so when we went to close out some permits, they wanted an address for the water meter, and we provided what we thought was the address, and they said we don't have that. And through extensive search, I mean, we searched the campus, we prodded the ground, but we couldn't find it, Dr. Teray. So we had to get, the city said, well, fine, you got to put one in. And the easement is for a new water line from the main to cosmetology. So now we're able to put a water meter in and pay for Oklahoma City services.
Okay.
So to clarify, Dr. Teray, this is the cosmetology. The easement is for the cosmetology building.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. And one other question regarding just item number L. It was regarding concurrent enrollment. Is that the first time we've done concurrent enrollment with OSU OKC?
So this is something you're having this before you because I thought it was important to do these. Have we had an MOU before? Yes. What I decided to do is that any MOU that we had with another participating school, that the board would see that MOU. Have we had a relationship with them previously? The answer is yes, but I did want you to see this in person and to be able to see this MOU.
I'm excited about that. I think that's something good for our students, but I didn't recall seeing it before, and I thought, okay, but
there was not an MOU given to you before, correct?
Okay.
And I thought it was important to have that before the board.
All right.
And for various reasons. One is that to ensure that the board approves all MOU as required, and secondly, for you to see the cooperations that we have within the MOUs are exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion?
All vote.
Being no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. McKinney?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Dr. Teray?
Aye.
Mr. McKinney?
Aye.
Ms. Campos?
Aye.
Mr. Latham?
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 5 carries. We'll move on to item number 6, personnel.
Move approval, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Dr. Teray?
Aye.
Mr. McKinney?
Aye.
Ms. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. Campos?
Aye.
And Mr. Latham?
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 6 carries. Item number 7, encumbrances and purchasing. We have a motion.
Motion.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Dr. Teray?
Aye.
Ms. Richards?
Aye.
Ms. McKinney?
Aye.
Ms. Campos?
Aye.
Mr. McKinney?
Aye.
And Mr. Latham?
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 7 carries. Item number 8, adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Matt, are we able to ask a quick question?
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, I just noticed this, the student highlight. I know it's no longer on the agenda, but is that something that we could revisit in the future?
Actually, we've already revisited, if I may speak, President Latham, and that will start back in September.
Okay, great.
And it will be a standing item on every board meeting.
Okay,
If that's okay with the board. I apologize. I just threw that out there without asking. I apologize. But the recommendation is to the board is to put a standing item of student recognition.
Okay. Then I'll second Mr. McKinney's adjournment.
Got us some pins and needles there, looking for that second. All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Dr. Teray,
Yes.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye, it's good to see everybody.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Everybody have a good
Okay.
evening.
Bye, everyone.